It's another Wednesday, the 18th day of December, 2024. Oh, well, good morning and welcome to another interesting edition of VOP this morning on Voice of the People television. I think we have like 6 or 7 days away from Christmas, and people are asking, what's going on? Is Christmas in the air? Because a lot of people can't find it. Oh, well, I'm sure I've seen Christmas is on the air. My name is Chukuma Okoro, and good to have you on this show. Now, on the show this morning, we are going to talk about Inspector General of Police, Ebutokun, has banned Nigerian police from arbitrary arrests, detention of youths, collection, checking of phones. But the question on the lip of every Nigerian is this going to stand? This is not the first time that the IGP has given out this order. The IGPs have said several times, not just this one, dismantle roadblocks, stop arbitrary arrests, stop checking phone and laptop of young men. But where are we? After like 2 or 3 weeks, the Nigerian police, they go back to this. Now that the IGP has given this order, let's see how far it will go. But we're also asking, is it because of what happened between the VP and Kemi'S? Oh well. Pina?
Good morning, Chukuma. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. All right, talking about the police, Inspector General of Police and his directive, like you rightly said, it's not the first time we're hearing the orders from above, but all the same, those that are not there in that sphere, in that cadastra also steal the fault. And I'm Fina Okechukwu. Also on our radar this morning, we've been the touchlight on how Nigeria have spent approximately 9.1 trillion naira on petroleum importation in 9 months, which is double of what they spent in 2023, despite local refineries coming up. You know, we have the Dangote refinery and the Port Harcourt refinery also. And then sometime last month, Ipman said that they withdraw the 24 trillion naira importation they tagged on premium motor spirit, you know. And then yet, we're seeing 9.1 trillion being what Nigeria as a nation have spent on petroleum product importation. Quite interesting.
Well, these are the conversations we'll focus on in the next 2 hours, and we crave your indulgence, we crave your participation. We want you to be part of the conversation. Do well to follow us on all social media platforms, across social media, x.com, Instagram, and the rest, TikTok as well. We are at VOP TV Live. And then on YouTube, it's Voice of the People TV. All right, so, and then check out the website as well, www.vop.ng. Now, before we get into the conversations and introduce our guests on the show, let's look at a few things that Nigerians have been talking about. Now, a few stories that Nigerians have been talking about. One is coming from Edo State, where the government, the new governor, has issued a 72-hour ultimatum. To who, you might ask? To Asue Ighodalo, the PDP's candidate in the recently concluded governorship election, and also other politicians to return government vehicles still in their possession. Well, this directive was announced by Kelly Okumbowa, chairman of the Government Assets Recovery Committee, and it's part of an ongoing effort to reclaim public assets. Okumbowa revealed that several vehicles, including those formerly belonging to the defunct Edo Line Transport Company, were illegally sold, and some located at a spare parts market in Benin City. Well, he urged Ighodalo, his running mate, and others to return the vehicles promptly, emphasizing that these assets belong to the people of Edo State. Oh well. Big question on my mind is, why do they have government vehicles in their possession? Why?
Why will you be with government property?
Well, Moses, I think it's a big question. It's a big question. It's not an isolated case. This is not the first time. So I begin to ask the question, is it a case of a new broom sweeping clean, trying to touch all the corners? Like when you get a new broom, it tries to get to all the corners. Because I say that in the light of the fact that over time, when governors come into office, they always try to show working in our local parlance, to show working. They start with all these measures. Quickly recover every government property that you have taken and all of that and that and that and that. It happened in Abia State, and when Alex Oti became the governor, he wanted to recover all the vehicles, that were used in previous administration. It's a good thing to do. But in trying to do that, let us also ensure that it is not some form of witch hunting, because in the process, it was discovered that some of these, the government didn't do due process. They didn't conduct due diligence to understand that some of the vehicles that had number plates, bearing government number plates, had actually been given out, following due process to people that, were using those cars, that deserve those people that were using those cars. Because I understand that there's also a government policy that if you use a car at some level for a particular number of years, when you are leaving office, you can take it home. But the proper documentation had to be done. So when the police and forces were unleashed and people were harassed here and there, and those vehicles were recovered, at the tribunal, when he set up a commission of inquiry, the commission discovered that most of these cards had been duly given out to the people that were using them. But what I find strange is that vehicles belonging to Edo State Transport Company, had been taken over by people. That is not right. It is not good. But another question to ask is, this drive, to sanitize, how sustainable is it going to be? So that is what brings me back to the issue of, I hope it's not a matter of a new broom sweeping.
Well, whether or not it's a new broom trying to sweep clean, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we see transition of one administration to another, different parties, because at the end of the day, we see how things have been either mismanaged, and then we see people trying to do things right. And, the people are made aware of some things that play out within the circles of those around office. We've seen cases where people are leaving a particular office and they go ahead to purchase properties, using their position to purchase properties. We've seen liaison offices being taken over by individuals,
yes,
and then turned to something else. We've seen a lot of that happen.
A certain governor was leaving office and he actually wanted to sell the state liaison office in Abuja to himself.
Oh yes, of course.
But I think the House of Assembly resisted him, and that didn't happen. More like what you are talking about.
Yes, we see that happen a lot. Vehicles are sold, maybe due process or not, but these things are taken over. I mean, there are MDAs where some of these vehicles were procured using barter arrangement, and then one man at the top is leaving office and then he's going away with it. Some of these things happen. So it's good when we see somebody that may disagree with the policies of the first coming to office. The people tend to benefit. Now, it might be for a while. They might, realign and then interest will take over. But in the meantime, I think the people of Edo State, they will be the ones to gain. I mean, if vehicles that belong to Edo State Transport Company are recovered, then they should be put to good use so the people will have more vehicles on the roads to serve the people. So it's a good move.
The only thing I have to say is this feud now between Obebolo and Obaseki should please yield something benefit for the people. Because I could recall when he first took office, I'm talking about Monday Obebolo now, he said that all tax collection in the whole of Edo State should pause because he wanted to make sure that the money that is being collected in those parks are being remitted to where it should be. And I spoke to someone in Edo State yesterday, and the person says it's good to say that Monday Obebolo is doing something, given the fact that he happens to be man of the people, and then he's representing that a senator. He's man of the people, so he's representing them well. And okay, I wish them well. Let's see how this also plays out.
Well, he has also sacked the LG chairman. Yes, he has sacked all of them for insubordination.
And
suspended,
mismanagement of funds.
Yes, suspended, not sacked. Suspended them for insubordination and mismanagement of funds and not sending in their reports on time.
Moses, it's interesting that you raised this issue now. The point is, does the governor, the House of, he now directed the House Assembly.
State Assembly.
Because clearly the Constitution empowers the State House of Assembly to make laws for the good governance and administration of local government.
Oh, yes.
But does that also include suspending them?
I think it does. I think it's within the the right of the State House of Assembly. So that's let's see if sanity will be brought back to that part of administration. in Edo State.
It's not about not calling the figures well. It's about him. I'm talking about Monday now doing something right. And wait, more you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do
Nigeria.
that. So no, but the thing is, we're tired of people that will come up to speak and say so many things, flawless English and all that, and they won't be able to do something to deliver rightly for other people. So, pardon?
They won't show workings.
I'm happy you just say that it will show working. And then talking about showing of workings, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Aisha Garba, an international development specialist, as the executive secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC. The appointment was announced on Tuesday by Bayo Ononuga, who happens to be the special advisor to the president on information and strategy. He highlighted that Garba's extensive experience as a senior education specialist with the World Bank, spending over 24 years across Nigeria, Ghana, Somalia, Kenya, the US, and the UK, with more than 15 years of leading education programs and reforms at the World Bank. Garba is expected to bring her expertise in human development, particularly in fragile and conflict settings, to deliver sustainable solutions in the basic education. When I saw the story, I was very happy over the fact that the president is beginning to look outside to bring Nigerians who are representing, every other area they found themselves in the world in a good way, And then I had the conversation yesterday with a friend of mine, and the person said, Fina, why will you be happy about it? Is it because she's a woman? I said, no, it has nothing to do with she being a woman. It's the fact that I've noticed that over the time, Nigerians tend to do well internationally. We have the World Trade Organization having its leader again to be our own, our own Nigerian representing or being at the helm of that affair. This is the second time she's getting there. And what is it that when it comes to us internally, we tend to have, little issues. I wouldn't want to target a big one now. Little issues over the fact that is it that we don't have the political will to carry out whatever thing is it that we've been exhibiting internationally, or I just don't know why is it that when it comes to inside within, we don't represent well, but outside, internationally, we're doing well. Congratulations to Ms. Garba for this wonderful one, and I hope she bring in all the knowledge she's been able to gather for the past 24 years in making sure that a universal basic education here in Nigeria is what it should be.
Oh, well, congratulations to her. I'm not particularly excited about the appointment until I get to see if anything different is being done. But in the meantime, all I can say, yeah, congratulations. It's a laudable appointment.
Someone that did it in Somalia, she did something else again in Ghana. She will do better.
Now, the thing is, it's not about. It's like a coach now.
Yeah.
A coach being given, the go ahead to handle the team, but then there are people that make decisions that will tell you, oh,
so
no,
you think
put this
Nigeria
person in
factor
there.
play again?
There might be a Nigeria factor.
Exactly the
Nigeria
point I was
factor.
coming to.
Go ahead.
I think it's a good pick if you ask me on the surface of it, because I've looked up her resume. Fantastic, excellent. She's done well. In things she has done before. But I'm kind of laid back because I'm afraid. Because of the system, like Moses said, it's about the system. Is it possible that the system will allow her, give her a free hand, to operate? Universal basic education is clearly about what? Primary education and all of that. Now, we are dealing with an issue that is quite prominent in our education system. And what is that? It is the issue of out-of-school children. And now we know that there are some cultural impurities, that have affected this problem of out-of-school children in some parts of the north. It's more like a big deal, for parents to send their children to school. Amajiri schools have been built for them. This kind of nomadic schools, we have spent so much money, to build those schools. Yet, the patronage is quite low. We have seen places where uniforms, school books, feeding, and everything is done for people, free. Yet, they have not been able to embrace this primary education at that level. So it's not just about bringing the best hands. It's about reforming the system so that the system itself becomes compliant, with the people that run it, so that their best efforts, will not just die like that. Because looks like when we bring very important and fantastic people that have done well overseas, you see the system, affecting or not allowing them to give
spread their wings and fly. Yes,
is that, and like I said, I hope it doesn't get to a point where people will start talking about Aisha. She didn't do well because of this or all of that. Anyway, moving away from that, Nigerian stand-up comedian Bovi Uboma has expressed strong disapproval of using physical punishment to correct children, stating that beating them is not an effective method of discipline. Speaking during a recent episode of the Honest Bunch podcast, Bovi emphasized that children do not deserve to be beaten regardless of their offenses. He questioned whether such punishment is truly corrective or merely a sign of frustration from adults. Now, sharing a personal experience, Bovi recounted how his son, in moments of anger, fits of anger if you like, had broken 3 televisions by throwing objects at them. He also criticized the tradition of senior students disciplining their juniors in primary and secondary schools, calling for an end to such practices. Fina, what do you think?
It's interesting that you threw that back to me. What do I think? Now, the thing is,
I know you are capable.
The thing is this, it depends on what works for you as a person, as a parent. You don't tell me that I can't discipline my child, by kind of tapping him or her, if you want to use the word whooping. Reason, for example, when Bobby was talking, Bobby talked that, I said something about how the son broke 3 televisions. My dear, you don't break my television and expect me to come home and look at you and smile and tell you, sweetie, don't do that next time. Yeah, we know we have naughty corners. We have so many other ways we can train a child and make the child to be, respectful and all that. But when it gets to discipline, the way, even a good book pointed out.
Fina, let's get a video of the podcast, so that Nigerians will understand what Bobby is driving at, Let it not be hearsay.
I don't advocate for beating children. You should let children be. My son Chuchu, they break television for the fun of. If he vex, he go, whoa, he would throw stuff and break. So it got it got to the age where he got to, and I saw the remorse.
I remember that first one where he post. We get one where he post one time.
That was the 3rd TV.
So after he broke the first one, you didn't say, he might break the second one. Let's just leave TV for now until, you bought the second one. Okay, did you buy a cheaper one the second time?
No, but thank God for capacity. Do you get? If I couldn't afford another TV, then the approach would have been totally different.
Of say where the money go come from.
That's why I tell people you are very correct. Most times when we hit kids, check, are you really trying to correct them or you are frustrated?
There's a correction that people can have. Correction can come in love. When Bobby was talking, Bobby said, not like transparent aggression and all that. No, but when you hit a child, you don't do it excessively. You don't beat your child, with the anger and everything. But believe me, I'm sorry to say, it doesn't really sound well to tell me that my child will break 1st television, 2nd television, 3rd television. I will just tell you, no, please don't do that again. No. Here where we are, the reason for the little cane that we have in the house, is more like for the child to understand that there should be consequences of every wrongdoing. And then talking about the children in school, that the senior ones who, will bully, kind of try to discipline the younger ones by telling them to kneel down, flogging them and all that, I was against that. While I was in secondary school, I was also a school prefect. And in my school, they'll have this mantra, no beating. So when a child is to do something wrong to you, is it that you report to higher authorities or find another way to discipline this particular child? I can't remember being excessively, hard or harsh on people.
On a child.
On a child. But when it gets to discipline my child, I do that myself. I can tap you at the back. I can beat you. I can tell you to kneel down. I can tell you to get to naughty corner. I'm not transferring aggression, but I want you to be a better person. And that is it.
Okay.
Let's have your thoughts.
It has become a sensitive topic.
Quite sensitive.
Discipline, how you discipline your children, because now the world over is saying, look, don't use the cane, don't be forceful because, the child has rights, you might cause harm, you might cause injury. Yes, I know sometimes excessive discipline can inflict injury. So we should find a way to draw the line between, discipline and doing it excessively. Even the Holy Books says, spare the rod, spoil the child. So if you refrain from using, the rod can be, it could be words. And children have certain levels of development. There's a level of development where when you speak to them, they won't take you seriously. So there you have to spank a little. You have to correct. You have to, beat a little. There's a level they would get to. You know that if you continue using the cane, you'll only be breathing people that will revolt later. So then you have to sit them down and talk sense into them. So there are levels to it. Okay. So you need to know which one should you apply. Now, if I have a child that would break my television, maybe because they are playing. I remember as a child, I broke one very beautiful vase, in the house. But it wasn't intentional. It was because I was playing. Then we used to play table soccer. Did you know about it, right?
Yes, yes.
So we played table soccer, and then I was supposed to arrange the table afterwards, and I broke the vase. I had to hide it. I had to shift the broken part towards the wall. And my mother saw it. She was furious, but she did not flog me. Instead, she sat me down and told me my life history. How I made her suffer during pregnancy, and I felt so bad. And I said, am I such a terrible child? But at that point, that worked. Okay. I became more careful with things. But there was a point in my life as well where I had, I was still a child. I had funny haircuts. I went to get a funny haircut. And then when I go home, I received some resetting. That resetting slap. And I never played with my hair again.
All right.
But the bottom line is we should know how to, correct, and you discipline, and also you draw them close.
More like carrot and stick.
Yes.
Well, Moses, I like the fact that you brought in the issue of this topic being very, very sensitive.
Yes.
But I will look at it from a larger perspective, of being civilizational. Our society has clearly become more permissive because we try as much as we can to copy from the West. I read one book, The Clash of Civilization by Paul Huntington, one of America's best political scientists. He was talking about civilization. And in all of the civilizations, he didn't mention, there was nothing like African civilization, because African civilization had been subsumed by the Western, American, and European civilization. What Bobby merely said here, it's a Western thing. It's a Western thing, if you ask me. And you should also begin to interrogate who becomes our role model in society. Your child breaks the first television set, the second one, the third one, and
Well, according to him, he said his own father didn't flog him, and he turned out, the way he turned out.
Oh, his own father didn't flog him.
His own father didn't, yeah. So
exactly. Now, my point is this. At what point should we adopt the carrot and the stick approach? I like the fact that also that you make reference to the Bible, that says,
spare the rod and spoil the child.
And spoil the child. It's a natural law. It's a natural order of things. There is no way. Moses, while growing
Even
up,
the Bible also says, whom the Father loves, he
chastises. I used it here
chastisement can be
last week.
Flogging.
Growing up,
chastisement can be
growing up
depriving you of
in a community. It was not the responsibility of the parents alone. It was the responsibility of the whole community. That if you see a child who is going astray, you call that child to order. But all those things are now in the past. And look at how permissive.
To love. If you don't do it with love,
look at how permissive the society has become. Is it a good thing for us?
I have that. Chikuma, this brings me to this question I do ask. Why is it that well-raised parents, I'm sorry to say, are the ones now, some of them are the ones now giving birth or raising poorly, minded children?
Because they want to be seen as being elitist.
Yes, they want to align with the Western culture.
Or Western culture.
I believe there's a
not
phase.
what it should be
there's a time
for us. That's not what it should be for us. Oh, well, there's so much to talk about. That's where we have to end this banter this morning. Is it banter? Right?
Yeah, before we move over to the newspaper, reviewing on the newspaper okay. Now. Yesterday was former President Muhammadu Buhari's 82nd birthday. Okay. And it made the whole Nigeria, and some people were wishing him happy birthday, and some were actually going out of their way to, talk about how he brought Nigeria to where Nigeria is today. I recall that his present administration said they inherited a near dead, a near bankrupt economy. And then some people are saying, what is there to celebrate? Why wish? But this is man who is 82 years old. Are we not supposed to wish him happy birthday?
Specifically, Moyele Sowore said that there is nothing to celebrate about Buhari, that he was the person that crumbled his economy. That for the 8 years you know, he took Nigeria back to how many years? I can't recall. That post was on his Facebook handle. And Joe Ibokwe came out and said, no, what is this madness coming from Showore and all of that? Showore shouldn't talk down on former head of state, former president and all of that. And again, it comes back to the issue of the message and the messenger. And and I'm happy too, like I said, that the IGP, you know, is looking into the police force. Thanks to Kemi Bednog, you know, for coming out the way she did. At least we are taking a view. We are moving our direction, you know, to the police force to see how best we can get a better police, Nigerian police. But whether you like it or not, Muhammad Buhari has been Nigeria's head of state once, president once. So in the Hall of Fame, his name will always be there, good or bad. So on behalf of you, on my personal standing, I can say happy birthday, President Muhammadu Buhari.
It's not easy to turn 82, you know. It's not easy.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, happy birthday to you. But, okay.
Okay.
We'll ask the question when the time is right about the police and whether the influence of Kemi, you know, whether what the statement by Kemi makes any impact or any influence at all. Well, we'll talk about that when the time is right. But in the meantime, I think we should be going to the papers right now.
Exactly.
So we'll take a break. When we come back, we get the papers, and then we'll get into the conversation in the course of the program. Well, thanks for joining us again. Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. Now let's get into the papers. We have the Daily Trust, the Guardian newspaper. We also have, some of the dailies here. We have the Punch, the Vanguard as well. Now let's get into it very quickly. From the Punch newspaper, should I start with the Punch or the Guardian? Okay. Oh well. Now from the Punch newspaper, the bold headline here reads, Hardship, FG opposition clash over Tinubu's economic reforms. PDP, LP, NNPP link president's reforms to worsening hardship. APC government defend policies. All right. And then right beside the masthead, Nnamdi Kanu's release may not end Southeast insecurity. That's coming from Soludo. But release the man first. Let's see what happens. And some more headlines here. Nigeria, Ghana eye better relations as Tinubu hosts President-elect Mahama. Crashed helicopter flying NNPC officials violated regulations. FG. Truck crushes pedestrian to death in Lagos. Wow. Oyo begins 80,000 naira minimum wage January. And some more headlines here. Well, I can't seem to get this one. Yes, okay, so yes. Northern governors deploy vigilantes as Northwest tops 2.2 trillion naira ransom. Kaduna returns Abacha's family property seized by El Rufai. Senate proposes foreign currency ban for local transactions. All right, so these are the headlines in the Punch newspaper.
On the cover page of the Guardian newspaper this morning, the banner headline there reads, Crime and Security Report 2024. Nigerians pay 2.2 trillion naira ransom in 51.9 million crime cases, resort to self-help. There's a breakdown of that, you know, talking about the 2.2 trillion naira and 51.9 million cases. And here we have Northwest, 1.171 million cases, and Northeast, 1.66.137 million cases, and, you know, they're about North Central, Southwest, Southeast, and South-South. All right, 2.23 trillion naira estimated ransom was paid between May 2023 to April 2024 An estimated 51.8 million crime incidents were reported within the reference period. And if you're interested in that story, you just visit page 6 of the of the Guardian newspaper, beg your pardon, for the detail. Tinubu's wife doles out 1.9 billion naira to elderly veterans. INEC obeys South Court as Supreme Court judgment restores Eze Okenwa as ABGA chairman. Report indicts police, military, others as prime antagonists of media in Nigeria. The story is also on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Imo PDP flays Uzodinma over failure to secure promised foreign jobs for youth. 40 million adults still excluded as financial inclusion hits 64%. Edo Assembly suspends 18 council chairmen, PDP kicks. Uncertainty trails 20 billion naira consumer auto finance scheme. And the bottom strip headline is how ICPC stopped diversion of 5.8 billion naira by MDAs, recovered 29.7 billion naira assets.
All right, and that's how far we can go with the papers at this moment. Join us again at 9 o'clock for newspaper review. In the meantime, let's dive into the conversation. Inspector General Kayode Egbetokun has placed a ban on Nigerian police has banned the Nigerian police from arbitrary arrests, detention of youths, collection, checking of phones. Well, the question on the lips of Nigerians is, will this order stand? Let's find out from our guest in the course of the program. We'll be speaking with Barrister Darlington Agumwo, and also we'll have Dele Fanimo join in the conversation as well. So join us again as we'll be diving into this one in a bit.
The gift of love.
The gift of joy.
The gift of laughter.
The gift of happiness.
The gift of peace. May all these and more be yours this Yuletide season.
Merry Christmas!
Season's greetings from the management and staff of Voice of the People Television.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has directed police officers nationwide to cease arbitrary arrests, harassment of youths, and unauthorized checks of mobile phones. A document issued by the police headquarters, Department of Operations, warns that officers and supervisors who violate these orders will face severe penalties. The directive emphasizes accountability, stating that command commissioners and supervisors will be held responsible for infractions, with monitoring units established to enforce compliance. Now, this development comes amid international scrutiny following allegations by UK Conservative Party leader Kemi'S, who accused Nigerian police officers of corruption. Bednar claimed that officers once stole her brother's shoe and wristwatch, reigniting public criticism of misconduct and abuse of power within Nigeria's law enforcement agencies. Now, the IGP's order aims to address these issues and restore public trust in the police force. Oh, well, we are joined in the studio by two gentlemen, two lawyers, Barrister Darlington Agumwo and Barrister Asim Adams. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Mr. Okoro.
We'll also be joined virtually by our correspondents from Benin and Oka. Now, let's get into the topic of discussion. Barrister Darlington, when I was doing my intro, you were giggling. Yes.
I was, yeah.
Okay. Now, why are you giggling? Is it because
Somebody has woken up.
to responsibility?
Yes, yes.
Now, how far do you think that Kemi'S statement alerted the IGP to call off, the police from the streets?
Yeah, Mr.
Asking them to stop arresting young men with laptops, stop checking their phones, stop arbitrary arrests and all of that. But I also like you to understand that this is not the first time.
I know.
He is not the first IGP to give that order. Do you think that now that order will be implemented?
I think so, because this one has gone international. This particular issue now is no longer within the confines of the Nigerian space. Somebody is exposing us out there in the UK. And it's not just somebody, it's a leader of a party in the British Parliament. So if you cannot take such a comment serious, then what else are you going to take serious? And this is why we are saying it, that you should not sleep on your right. People should talk. Because if you don't talk, forget about what the vice president is saying. Within them, they know that they are not doing right. That is why we must continue to talk, so that change can come. You cannot tell me that the IGP just woke up to do what he did now.
Some people have said that it's a mere coincidence.
No,
it's not because of what Kemi said.
It's a lie. They will not agree. But me, I know better.
So are you not saying that we'll have to wait for an international person or someone that have an interest or someone that stays abroad to call out Nigeria and the way that we're operating for us to walk inwardly?
Exactly. You know how laws are made. Laws are created because of events. When things are happening, it behoves on the parliament to say, this thing, we have to create a law for this thing, to checkmate it, or to arrest it, or to address it. So when things like this happen and the government wake up, it is kudos for the human rights community and for public speaking. Because that is the only way the government can be asked to look at what is going on or to draw attention to the government. Imagine if all of us keep quiet.
But Barrister Darlington, for like what Chukuma rightly said, before now we've had I'm talking about the IGP of police now coming up to say, police should stop doing this stop and search by the roadside. They should stop putting roadblocks. They should stop all the other excessive ways that they are using in, calling people or reining people in, especially when they are the default. But we still see those things happen. We still see them. We still see police still mount roadblock. We still see police still, harass people. We still see police still, handle youth the way it shouldn't be, if I'm to use that word. And you could recall that this was one of the reasons that led to the hashtag end police brutality, that's end SARS protests that happened, as of 2020 and all that. Yet, they still continue with that, even up until today. Sometimes you see some of them being sent out, according to some people saying that they're being sent out by DPOs to go get money and all that. Now, what do you have to say about this?
Now, let me tell you, laws are created to be violated. Every society, it is your ability to checkmate and address those infractions that matters. That is why the courts are there. Imagine if nobody commits crime. Everybody just like NJ Gabriel and Michael. Then lawyers will not have any job to do. Laws are created to violate it. That's why you go to court. So this thing you are saying, yes, there may be infractions here and there. There may be deviants in all the profession, in all the institutions. It is your ability to arrest and prosecute them that matters. Police are doing that. Maybe they are not doing enough, but they are taking care of their people who are going outside the law.
All right. Barrister,
Sure of that.
Thank you very much for your thoughts there. Let's bring it to another barrister, Barrister Asim Adams. Welcome to the conversation. Morning. Now, the question is, will this one hold water? Does the person of Kemi, will it have an impact? Now, before you respond to that question of whether this should be anything to go by, let's look at those that responded. I mean, this is not the first time that Nigerians are calling for an end to police brutality. It's not the first time. What led to the NSAS protest was the brutality from the policemen harassing young people, picking up their phones, transferring money from their phones, profiling young people, calling them Yahoo boys, and under the guise of trying to clamp down on internet fraudsters, inflict harm on people. Some people were shot, killed in the process. And then there was a protest. And we saw Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, respond to that, asking for Nigeria to put a stop to harassment of young people, respect the rights of the people. We saw Joe Biden respond. We saw Kamala Harris respond. We saw AU as a body responded. The EU as a body reacted as well. So we saw, one would say, very important personalities respond.
The whole world.
The world, really, reacted to the treatment of Nigerians by its own police and its government. What difference would a Kemi Big Knox statement make in this regard, now that we're hearing from this particular IGP?
Okay, Barrister Sim, so before you respond, let's get a video of some of the actions of our policemen. Let's have the video of some of the actions of our policemen. Okay. An Okada rider. And there's some form of altercation there, and this is not a lone act. It happens all the time, every other time. It gets to the point where they even arrest young men, ask you to open your mobile banking app and transfer money to their own accounts. Very common.
Well, unfortunately, we can't play that audio for you, but the young man is can be heard screaming, "What did I do? What did I do?" And the other one trying to be shoved into the police van. So we know these things have been happening.
I don't know. Can I go on?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go on, Barrister.
Okay. The point is this. Before the NSAS protest, I did a survey in Port Harcourt about police brutality. And I found out that the Nigerian police is the most brutal police force in Africa. And in the rankings in the world, you find out that even Afghanistan and war-torn Sudan, the police there respect human rights than that of the Nigerian police force. Now, let me give you for an example. The police brutality has been aided by the system. It's a systemic, thing. And it's been aided by the law, the Nigerian law. And those who enacted these laws are still alive. A president signed some of these laws this bills into law. For instance, why do you tell me that Section 24, 25 of the Police Act, gives the police power to even arrest us as we are here now, on allegation or on suspicion that we are about to commit a crime. They walk in here
on suspicion.
On suspicion, it gives the discretion. That is the Police Act. That section gives the discretion to the police officer
without a warrant.
It gives it. That is the reason why if a policeman sees you with a bag and you are moving with that bag, the Act gives him the power to say, "Hey, come, excuse me, what are you carrying in your bag?"
Very wide powers.
You understand? The powers are too wide. I have never seen where a police force has such, unlimited powers. That's number one. Number two, to tell you that what the IG says fallacious is pure sophistry, emotion is that, are you aware, and the IG, I'm asking him the question directly today, bail is free. When you go to any police station, you see it boldly written there that bail is free. But there are so many people in your gulag. It's not even detained, it's not even center. It's gulag. Alcatraz. There are so many of them littered all over the police stations in Nigeria here. Denied bail. And even when they want to grant that bail, they ask you for something for you to get the bail. But they say bail is free. So for them to even write it down to say bail is free means that they are aware that officers have been taking money in exchange for bail. That has not been dealt with. Until that is dealt with, I don't think what he's saying, we sink into my head. That is number one. Number two is this. Why is it that it's only when the high and mighty in Nigeria today raises concern about a particular ugly incident that the authorities, the security agencies begin to act? Assuming so that the IG is acting after Kemi Badenoch, a high-profile politician, has spoken about what happened to the siblings. If she had not spoken, what about me? That I am just a common Nigerian. What about me on a daily basis? Nobody hear my voice. I drive through the street in a hazardous street filled with police landmines. Police flagged me down yesterday. I was even explaining to them that I was going for a seminar.
Okay, Barrister Sim,
so these are things. It's so bitter.
I'd like for you to hold onto your line of
I'm so bitter about all
these
these
things.
things.
To Kemi Badenoch, to hear, to get an input, of her message and how this might have affected the decision by the IGP, to give this order. Let's have that video. Let's listen to Kemi Badenoch.
Do you trust the British police?
I do. But, remember my experience with the police in Nigeria was very negative. And coming to the UK, my first experience with the police was very positive. The police in Nigeria would rob us. So when people say, I had this bad experience with the police because I'm black and they're white, I was like, well, I remember the police stole my brother's shoes and his watch.
His shoes?
Yeah, they took his shoes and his watch. It's a very poor country. So, people do all sorts of things, and giving people a gun is just a license to intimidate. But that's not the bar we should use for British police. Obviously, it should be much higher. But my experience was so positive. When I was burgled, for example, the police were there, very helpful. They eventually caught the person. This is 2004, so 20 years ago. The police did catch criminals, and now we've given them too much to do, in my view. So the police are the first line of defense for everything, and I think that burden makes it a lot harder for them to actually do the basics. And that.
All right, that's Kemi Badenoch, on a podcast, and that's the comment that stirred the honestness. Some people have argued that Nigeria wasn't on the radar, so why travel in that direction? To denigrate Nigeria, like the Vice President said. Oh, well, let's come back to our issue of discussion. Barrister Sim, before we move on, you said something very important, and I'd like for us to use the opportunity of this show, to get some clarifications about bail being free and bail bond. Now, we understand that bail being free means that you don't have to pay the police any money to bail somebody, because that money actually doesn't enter into the state coffers.
Absolutely.
It goes into the pockets of the policeman. Now, there was an argument that ensued yesterday, somewhere, and I overheard them. Can you help us understand what is bail bond? When you say that Darlington Agbomo was granted bail to the tune of 500,000 naira, what does that mean? Does it mean that his surety has to deposit that money with the police or with the court? Let us understand, because there's that kind of confusion out there. What does bail bond mean?
Even administrative bail.
You see, the point is, when you are granted bail, quickly is this. You bring what they call a surety.
Okay.
Somebody that will stand for you, that I am going to produce, the person I'm taking on bail whenever it's needed, for further investigation or prosecution, as the case may be. Now, the bond there is that it's like a guarantee that assuming the person jump bail and you are not able to bring him back, there should be punishment for you that came to stand for somebody who jumped bail. Now, if you know the person very well, that is why we always advise that before you stand as surety for anybody, make sure it's somebody you can vouch for. You understand the point, and you can trace or whatever the case may be. Now, that particular surety, 500,000 naira bond, the bond is that you bring an equivalent of the documents of a property you have that is of the value of 500,000 naira and above. It's not that you are going to drop the 500,000 naira with the police or the courts, as the case may be. So you have to swear to an affidavit of means also to show that yes, you are capable and you have a property that is worth, that 500,000 and above. Then you not drop, copies of those particular properties you are using to surety that will stand for that person as a guarantor. Okay. That is what is needed. But this has been abused. Even in the court premises. You find that the court grants somebody a bail. At the end of the day, what happens is this. The bureaucracy or bureaucratic bottlenecks in the court region there, you have to spend 1 or 2 naira. That is a systemic problem. So for me, at the police level, it is more pronounced and more rife. In the sense that police has used bail as a tool to intimidate, harangue, and manacle the conscience and physical content of the Nigerian person, as the case may be. Now, you are arrested for a very simple offense. You get to the police station, interrogation is done, the police act, and the police knows that the law says that this person, the offense he has committed is a bailable offense. They walk in on that and say, we are going to give you bail, but you are going to pay XYZ amount of money for us to release you, in spite of the fact that your surety has come to sign for you, the bond for you. So that is corruption on its own. So it's a systemic one. Now, on the other part, the question I have asked, why do police use bail, as punishment? Even though the courts have said that bail should not be used as a punishment. But police now use it as a punishment. The reason is because of the fact that Nigerians are so scared of going behind the bars. Not because of the fact that they cannot have that psychological, whatever to go behind. But if you go to the detention centers, once they throw you there, you are going to be, walking on ground floor, hunger, starvation, intimidation by those you meet in the cell there.
I was actually getting to that, Barrister Asim Adams, because I could recall that I visited a particular police station somewhere in Benin State, and when I stepped into that place, I was asked to provide some items.
Yes.
And then I said, why am I providing the items? And they said that is what should be done. I was asked to get, they have the specific item you're going to bring.
Absolutely, yes. That is what happens.
You will get this, you will get that, and you don't have the right to talk. You don't have the right to say anything. And that brings me to this question now. When is it that people who are coming to visit those that are being detained by the police are now expected to provide particular items to get that toll? And it's also interesting to know that the person I brought those things for, they didn't even get to use them. They didn't get to see them. Because I later asked, do you have your bat today? They say, how? How can you have your bat when you're behind bars? But I was asked to get soap, get a particular, product and disinfectant, antiseptic and all that, a particular type of tissue. And how constitutional is that?
It is
now, if it is not constitutional, then why is it that the police, who's supposed to be guiding
that is why I'm saying that the statement by the IG is just pure sophistry. He knows it's not possible what he has just said.
All right. No.
He knows it's not possible because if he really wants to, tinker with the police and he wants to work on his conscience to say, let this be. The first thing he has to do is that when you put bail is free, and you now find out that you go to the station, you are arrested, but bail is not free. We have so many petitions that we have written against officers, giving fact to say, this particular police officer asked or requested for 150,000 naira for my client to get bail, but they never act on it. So if you leave that behind, you are sweeping it under the carpet, and you are not telling me that police should not be, you are giving an order. It's just like an executive order you are giving to them.
All right, now Barrister Darlington Agumo.
Yes.
Also, another experience I have was the fact that there was a time God saved me. I would have been kidnapped and all that, and the guy was apprehended. And we got to the police station, and I was asked to I was asked to write in a statement, and I wrote what happened. And later, I was asked to pay money for the file. Like I have to pay money for the case file and all that. And then I asked, why should I pay money for this case file? This is more like a case of me. I was, I'm kind of bringing it now that this person nearly did this to me. God being God, I was rescued and all that. And they told me that if I'm not willing to do it, no one is going to champion the case. Now they have a money pegged on it. And when I talked about that, it also raises argument of the intention of Nigerian police and why it was created and how it came to be, which you talked about sometime also. You made mention of it being more like a case of the colonial masters, a way for them to collect the attacks and all that. That's why we have the force. But up until now, isn't it time for Nigeria as a nation that's over 64 years old to, reform the police in a way that it will no longer stand as a way of, intimidating the people, but project that light of protecting lives and property of Nigeria?
Yeah, Fina, what happened is that our police force are not moving with the time. They have not moved on.
Is it the police force or the people who are that put them there? Is it the case of the police or the politicians?
No, it's the police itself, because they have a curriculum whenever they go for training. You have all these police college all over the place. You now ask yourself, what are they teaching them there? What are they teaching them? I mean, the world is a global village. If you want these people to be reformed, there are so many templates you can copy from all over the world to now reorientate your police. But our own, instead of going forward, they are going backwards, even in 21st century. Granted that in 1861, when this force was established, it was mainly by the colonial master to collect tax. That's why they are called Nigeria Police Force. That is where the name started. And it is obvious that those baggages are still with them. They have refused to shed it off. Everything about them is all about force. They even tried to put Nigerian police. But
Mr. Arlington, is there any part of the world where the police do not use force to ensure compliance?
No. You are not even meant to use force. Go to some...
I mean, in the event of resistance.
You cannot... This is minimum force.
But that word force is
minimum and reasonable force. It can only happen when your life is threatened as a police officer, when you are trying to enforce the law, and your life is threatened. Maybe some rascals are shooting at you. You have to defend yourself. But this thing we are seeing in Nigeria, please, show me where it happened in the Western world.
But Mr. Arlington, we have seen cases where Nigerians have clearly, disobeyed the police force. You see a policeman is standing on the road and he's waving a vehicle down. And the vehicles clearly ignore him. And it is at that moment that you see the policeman trying to stop him or all of that. We have also seen policemen say, gentlemen, come, can I see what is inside your bag? We also know that there is stop and search. But Nigerians clearly violate this law. They resist the police. Don't you think that it is because of the actions? They say that action and reaction are equal and opposite. I mean, I've never seen a policeman that accosted a man and immediately started beating the person or manhandling him. There must be this issue of resistance first before force is applied. How do we now educate Nigerians to also reciprocate that respect that the police deserves?
Mr. Okoro?
Yes, sir.
The worst offense a motorist can commit on our roads, especially private cars, is for you to have original and current documents of your vehicle papers.
That's the worst offense?
Yes.
To have original?
Everything.
Why?
Because police don't want to hear that. The next thing, share our paper will go chop. When you bring everything, where is this one, where is this one, where is this one? And you make that mistake of saying, officer, look at all of them.
No, Barrister Arlington, I want us to look at the role of the citizen in ensuring that the police acts responsibly.
I am coming. Now, with this frequent experience, because bear in mind that any police officer you see on the road, or that the boss sent out on the road, he is expected to bring returns. Whether you like
Are they not generating revenue?
That is the original intention. You can't go out on a roadblock or checkpoint and all that and come back like that.
Barrister, please
Yes.
hold on. Hold on that thought. Bringing returns. You say it's the original intention. Okay, before you proceed with that thought, I would like some proof to back that up. I do believe you'll be able to provide that. But before you do, yesterday there was a program on our sister station, VOP Radio, VOP 90.3 Radio, where a guest who happens to be former Deputy Director, DSS,
Dennis Amakre.
Thank you very much. Did say that the Nigerian police was not established to serve the people, really. It was established by the colonial masters to collect taxes, basically to serve the colonial masters. And that mentality is what has carried what the police has operated on, and politicians are taking advantage of that to use the police to oppress the people. And even the police subsequently have further developed that mentality. Do you believe so?
I just said it here.
Okay.
That they have not moved on. Even after all these years of freedom and independence.
Okay, so what
and I even said, what are they teaching them at the police college? Because the police acts, my friend just mentioned it here. Please, don't blame them because they don't even know what the act is saying.
What part of the police act speaks about
like the one that 24 and 25, whereby on mere suspicion, which is even against our law.
No, Barrister.
You cannot charge a man to court for what he's bearing in his mind. The actus rea and the mens rea must be there for you to establish a criminal intent. But in that of the police, when they don't look at you, say, "This guy, you are looking too hard. Your face is too hard."
You have dreads.
Yes, I gave you experience of the security guard in my area there. The guy went to drop the wife at the police station. I mean, at the bus stop at Oshodi. They saw this guy, and when they were ready, when they were ready, people at Oshodi. This boy, he started running when they were raiding everybody. The guy ran and they pursued him. They even had his clothes. He left the clothes and tore it away and ran away. Eventually, they apprehended him and took him to Alausa. That place where you have a shop right now. They used to have a Kai headquarters there. For 3 days, I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. I said, where is this night guard? Until that third day, when they were supposed to take them to court and then to Kirikiri, his friend now came to tell me that look what happened to Mokaila. I don't know what's his name again. But I've already dressed up in the morning to go out. Immediately, I told the driver, we ran to that place. When I got there, they said the man in charge was not around. This and that. I said, when will he be around? They said he will soon come and all that. And I said, okay, no, I waited immediately. Maybe after some minutes, the guy came. And I asked him, he said, please, I'm looking for some person. I came for him. He's and all that. So, what happened? I said, this is what they told me. I don't know exactly. That's why I came to find out. He said, okay, he will call the people that went to raid 3 days ago. He now called one of them and said, which of you went to raid? That's why you put it to, went to raid.
Like said, a wartime.
In fact, hold on, I'm coming. So, he now called the guy and said, I said, do you know such a? He said, yes, they know the guy. Yeah, they were pursuing him, he ran away. He was also, jubilantly as if he had arrested one big armed robber. That the guy was running. He gave us tough time. Eventually, we apprehended him. I said, okay, no problem. They now brought the guy. I said, so, please, what happened? He said, we were ready. The guy saw us and was running. He was running. We were pursuing him. We pursued him. I said, please, hold on. When you saw this guy, is he under investigation for any criminal acts? He said, no. Did anybody report him to you that he's looking for this man? He said, no. Are you looking for him yourself as a Kai officer? He said, no. Then why were you? He said, the way he looked and the way he reacted, he was running. Oh, God Almighty. I lost my cool.
Barrister Darlington.
I lost my cool.
Barrister Darlington. Nigerians, even the authorities, understand that our Nigerian police is in dire need of reforms. But let's also cut them some slacks here. Now, I say that in the light of the fact that Barrister Asim said that, look, Nigerian police, that they have wide powers, to arrest. Shouldn't that, I'm also thinking that power is discretionary. Now, my question is this. That power being discretionary, do you have to wait for somebody, that was suspect, to commit a crime before you arrest or before you even stop him? At what point, do you exercise that discretion to see that somebody is, like the actus mens and race that you talked about,
now, let me tell you, there is what you call
I've not landed on my
reasonable suspicion, Okoro.
Exactly.
Reasonable suspicion. That's why that word.
So when that reasonable suspicion is in place, does the police not have the right to say, come, and then effect an arrest?
Why not? Because that's why you're there. Prevention. Crime prevention is better than crime prosecution.
Is it going to be an arrest or is it going to be is it going to be an arrest or investigation?
So hold on. I am coming. Listen very well. Listen. Okay. The Nigerian police, they don't know what the act says. That is given to them. They don't know the police act on how to treat citizens. Even though the police act is there, they are not operating with your police act. If you go there and you quote it for them, they'll say, oh yeah, now don't worry. You want to teach me my job. You want to teach me my job. So they will use all manner of gimmicks to evade being educated.
What does the act really say about bringing someone into the station for questioning? In case you're suspected.
Look, when you look, there must be report. Somebody must complain to somebody.
No, we're talking about now using their discretion to try to stop someone from committing a crime.
In most cases, there is no reasonable suspicion here. They just see you and determine that you must be a criminal. And God help you. If you cannot speak for yourself, you don't have a job, you don't have a means of income, all those things, as far as the police are concerned, are reasonable suspicion that you're a criminal.
Okay, I'd like for Barrister Asim to react because he's been body moving.
The point is this. We're talking from personal experience.
All right.
I have experienced one in Port Harcourt. I've experienced one as a lawyer in Lagos here. In Festac, I was coming, though it was around 2 a.m., I went somewhere and I was going back home. So I saw a team of police officers who flagged me down. I pulled over. They asked me, who are you? I said, I'm so. They said I should move forward. I met some young men who were lying down. They used my car also with their van. We went to then first I'm telling you about some years back. When we got to the station, they took all of us to the counter. And I was trying to explain myself, this is my position. And the officer in charge said he has nothing to say. I was shouting at the station. The DPO came down. I was very lucky that the man was in the office on that particular day. He came downstairs and asked what was going on. I had to explain to him what happened. You have some reasonable... I'm coming to your question. You said there are reasonable police officers. You have very good police officers who are very professional. I've seen that. So the man came down and said, what exactly is the offense of this man? He said, he told you he's a lawyer. He said, yes. That they arrested, they had a distress call somewhere around 301 Road, ETC, and they arrested these people. Then they saw him around the place. So I was in a quagmire. But the man looked at it and said, okay, is that your findings and your investigation? Immediately say, yes. Did you take this man who said he's a lawyer and he says he stays in Festac to go to his house to see whether you can see one or two exhibits? Since you arrested him within the vicinity or whatever, they said no. That was an intelligent question that was asked by the superior officer. And that particular whatever was what freed me on that particular night. Because the DPO said, no, you can't keep him because if really he was part of their gang or whatever the case may be, you would have gone to his house. He told you he stays around 7th Avenue. It's not far from your station. You were taking him to his house, to search whether you will see or find one or two exhibits to nail him. We didn't do that. So I was released. The other one was a group of young boys who were watching a football match. Then whatever they watch at night in a drinking parlor. The police came in, raided the place. 32 33 people were arrested. And they were taken to the station. I followed up. I got calls and I followed to that particular station at Uzoba in River State. I went there. People who were listening to me know. We got in there, we met 30 something people were taken down there in the night. Those who could pay, their way out paid, and they got out. About 16 of them who could not reach their relations and could not pay, what is required of them to pay. Look at what happened now. They were charged to court the following day in the morning. I remember that the magistrate, who handled that matter when the charges were being read, sarcastically just told the prosecutor, please, where is that drinking under the high tension file, the case file? That is what the magistrate labeled, that particular, say, drinking under the high tension. In Nigeria, there's a law like that. Okay, let me have the file. And graciously, the magistrate released all of them on bail because he found out that they could not prove, that particular arrest. So what I'm saying is this. See, if you have reasonable ground for you to arrest somebody, you should come there with decorum, especially when the person is not aggressive. The person is not holding any weapon to maybe, harass you as the case may be.
All right.
But they come in, they handcuff you. Look at, okay, finally on this, let me put this to you.
Okay.
Look at a Dele Farotimi. He was charged for what? He was not charged for armed robbery. He was not charged for, a banditry. He was not charged for treason. He was only charged for what? Criminal defamation of a high-profile man. Why did they handcuff him?
Okay.
When they were taking him to the courts.
Well,
right.
So this is the thing we are talking about.
Thank you very, very much. Now, on our screen, we can see a video of a man being accosted by the police and, offering them bribe. But, the conversation went on right there. Yes, you can still see that one on the screen there. But now let's look at a few, because I had to, check out some things online when the barrister made some statements about the police. The Police Act 2020, am I correct? Yes,
Yeah,
2020. Okay. So now, the general principle of arrest states that Section 31, no person shall be arrested except as provided by law. Section 31, sub 2, arrest must not be based on gender, religion, ethnicity, or political beliefs.
Those ones are
Police officers must inform the person of the reason for the arrest promptly. How come we don't see them do that?
They can't do that. That's what I'm saying. They cannot follow the law.
Why
See,
can't
they
they
work on their whims and caprices. Let me tell you with due respect, unscrupulous elements are being recruited into the police force. You have some very wonderful officers who are well trained. Let us not, color the whole police, whatever bad.
Okay.
I am telling you from practice. 31 years I've been in practice. You understand? And have been actively in a criminal, jurisprudence practice. And I've seen a lot. Even police came to my, there was a time they came and invaded my office, in River State.
Okay.
I dealt with them in the way and manner I had to do. Those officers that came to my office acted professionally because they asked me one or two questions and I answered immediately.
They came to your office.
No, my office.
Your chamber.
My chambers.
So they knew you.
Yes, they do, but some of them will not. Some people will not. Based on the man who sent them, that is the petitioner. Okay. He's a well-to-do man, a very popular and prominent person. Now, based on that, they would have acted, otherwise. But when they came, I took them in. We sat down, and they brought the petition. I read the petition, and I said, "This is not true." You understand that if you have anything against me, I believe you should go to court, as case may be. I was thinking that they will tell me that no, they are going to take me and lock me up. They didn't do that, but that is professional policing. They granted me based on personal recognizance, and I had to report the following day. But not all Nigerians are that lucky, as the case may be.
Of course.
I'm not all Nigerians. When I mean lucky, it's not because of the fact that I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
I was lucky because the people that came were pure professionals.
Yes. Now
If the other errant officers were there, what will happen is that they will enter my office with a convoy. They can even fire gunshots into the air, create some, scene around that place, and even handcuff me and say, whatever you have to say, you have to be in my station.
All right then.
So I give kudos to those people, for those officers who came. We have a lot of fine gentlemen in the police force.
Yes, we do. But unfortunately, the ordinary man in Nigeria encounters the unprofessional one.
That's right.
More often,
Yes.
more often than not. Now, let me ask this question. Let me put the premise of my own personal experience. One of it, I mean, if you're a Nigerian in Nigeria, you would have experienced the police at some point. Now, I do recall a certain day, returning from work pretty late in the night, at about midnight or thereabout, and a policeman on Mufti jumped in front of the vehicle. And I mean, it was a lonely road. I wasn't sure if it was an armed robber or a police official, so I swerved. And then he jumped again, I swerved, and then he cocked his gun. My car basically entered gutter before I could stop. And then he came and said, policeman, and I'm like, well, you don't just jump in front of the car. You could flag me down. You have a torch, don't you? You could flag me down. To cut a long story short, we got to the police station because I, tried to evade him. That was my offense. And then I had to make some calls before I could leave there. They wanted me to stay overnight. I'm like, I can't stay overnight. But I made some calls and then I left there. Some minutes later. What does the law say anything about policemen at checkpoints putting on mufti?
See, the IG, that should be a command order. That is an administrative, order.
Okay.
Because the police act gives the IG and the police commission to fashion out guidelines on how they operate, what they call rules of engagement. Let me use that word, rules of engagement. They have the right to fashion out and say this is what should be, based on the powers given to them by the Police Act and the Constitution.
Okay.
The IG, for instance, can come up and say that Section 36 sub 5, Section 35 sub 5, Section 34, etc. of the Nigerian Constitution must be adhered to at all times, at all police stations in Nigeria. You understand?
Okay.
One, that once anybody that is brought or suspected to have committed a crime, if that is a bailable offense, release that person. Any officer caught or found wanting will be dealt with and prosecuted, etc. as the case may be. He can make such, based on those particular sections of the Constitution, make those internal memos to all the officers and follow it. But these things are not followed. You know why? There is this particular belief which is now becoming, a precedent. It's now a convention that when a police officer comes to your house, you believe that he's coming there to intimidate you. That is the hostilities you see that people normally give to them or resist them. Now, for instance, yesterday we were just driving down. He just saw 4 of us. I told the driver, I said, please, if they park, pull you over, please, pull over with peace. Don't argue with him. Then he pulled over. I came in and said, okay, how you doing, officer? I'm Barrister Adams, this is my car, this is my driver, these are co-lawyers with me. You understand the point now? He still insisted that, yes, lawyers, you are the ones making the law. You are the ones interpreting the law, etc. So let me search and look at your boot, open your boot. I told my dad, I said, please open the boot for him to do what now? To look whatever he wants to look at. You understand the point now? But if I didn't conduct myself in such a manner, I would have said, why will you ask me to do that?
Exactly.
Then it now becomes a problem.
Okay.
Because when we saw them, when we are driving, we say, oh, see police, see police, see police. So that's what my driver told. He said, I just knew that they were going to stop us.
Okay.
So these are the problems. So they need to work on their psyche and their psychology. It's a big thing that we need to do.
Is it working on the psyche now, Barrister Adams?
By training. You see, why don't, I was at a particular police department along, I don't want to call their name, along Mivat in Ikoyi, very professional officers. That is a few days ago. I went in there. When I got to the gate, I filled up my form. I went to the office there. I met the most senior police officer there. He sat me there in his office. Gave me said, you care for a drink or a coffee? I took those things. And when I came and he gave me that petition to read in presence of my client, after reading it, I was the one now explaining to my client the content of the petition.
Okay.
And immediately we went into discussion on bail. He did not request for a dime.
Okay.
He only said which of these conditions can you fulfill? I will tick one.
All right, Barrister Sim.
You understand? But I don't know the other one.
We are pressed for
No,
time.
so, okay,
One
yeah.
more question before we move. What most is...
Because I don't want us to look, I'm sorry, I don't want us to look at the police as
Of course not. Of course
generalized.
not.
So we are just trying to clear that
There are
burden of
professional ones.
yes, that
There are
there are professional
That's why I
police
said we should
officers who
also
are very,
cut them
yes,
some slack.
please, we have to cut them some slack.
Now,
but we have something bad eggs
what
there.
Moses read out is more like the general principles
Yes.
within the Police Act. I also know that there are some specifics. Now, let's look at the issue of... I'm still interested in that power of arrest. Where do we place the power of an individual, a private citizen who is not a police, to arrest? Because I also understand there's that kind of provision either in the Police Act or in the Nigerian Constitution.
To arrest?
Yes.
There's what we call citizens arrest.
Yes,
I can arrest if I'm
So
here.
at
There's
what
no
point,
if you want...
you now call police.
See, where a police officer, let me just put this quickly. Okay. Where a police officer is supposed to arrest immediately and even manako anybody.
Barrister Sim, 1 minute. There's a caller. Let's hold on to your line of thought. Let's take a call from Ghana. Hello there. Can you hear us?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
What's your name, please?
Good morning
Your name?
over there to the crews of the studio. Good morning.
All right. Can we have your name, please?
My name's Barrister Evans Elvis.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, reaching out from Canada. The issue of police, Nigerian police. If you just want to open the topic, it's going to take you more than 2 days to converse. First of all, I was a police officer myself as a security detail to late Governor Diepria Lamesia of Bayelsa State. I saw the decay in Nigerian police as far back as 2003. When I woke up in the morning, I had a thought. I said, does it mean that if I save my salary today and went and bought a new stockings and put on my feet, somebody will be looking at it as if I bought that stockings with a bribery money? I began to nurse the ambition to drop the uniform because the corruption was so alarming and worrisome.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Again,
let's have you respond quickly.
Police cannot, the junior ones cannot do anything without the approval of the senior ones.
Interesting. Now, before you proceed,
all the money they are collecting on the road, they rendered returns.
Okay, now, before you proceed, sorry, a barrister in the studio did say that they take returns back to the station under instruction. From your experience as a former player, can you confirm that the policemen on the road are given instruction to bring back returns? At what point have they become a revenue-generating agency?
100%. Very correct. If you fail to bring returns, you will be told a certain amount to bring. If you fail to render such amount, you will not be posted in that exist again. You will be sent to judge's quarters to go and perform night guard.
Are you listening?
Let me explain to you why I was a victim of the Nigerian police. I was in Kaduna State and was transferred to Bayelsa State as an intelligence officer attached to the intelligence branch of the Nigerian police.
All right.
I was posted to government
wrapping
house.
This story up, Barrister, please.
When I went down there,
Barrister, please.
the officer ahead of me wasn't happy because I wasn't giving returns. And my pay point was still in Kaduna State.
Okay.
All right, Barrister Evans, I think we have the import of your message. We understand what you have said.
And we appreciate you.
We appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming on this show. Now, Barrister Barrister Sim, let's have your final thought on this matter.
On this particular thought that I have said, one, the police and the Nigerian system has aided the brutality of the Nigerian police on one hand. The law also has aided the Nigerian police, to kind of orchestrate this brutality on Nigerians. Now, for instance, those particular police act, sections we quoted, why do you give unlimited powers of arrest to the police? Now, the courts have said that in a particular situation where discretion, because the police officers can use their discretion to arrest, the courts have held that where any issue of discretion is involved, and a public officer is involved, that particular discretion must be used judiciously and judicially. So are they using it that way? They are not. Then the law now is this. I still an advocate that section 293 to 299 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 should be taken up or amended completely because they had under that particular whatever to now orchestrate this mayhem we have right now.
But Sagamo, let's have your concluding thought on
now, this. Now, the police are part of the society,
okay,
whether you like it or not, except the society is reformed. You cannot reform the police. It's as simple as that because whenever you are recruiting your police from this same society. The difference here is that during the training, that is where the difference comes. During the training, what kind of training do you impact on the police officers so that when they come into the society, they will make a difference? You are not doing that. The training is the same colonial mentality of brutal force. That is why when they come out, you don't know the difference between them and Agberos.
Okay.
They even drink paraga and do all sorts of rubbish at the motor park with Agberos.
All right.
Is that the police that you want to be reasonable?
Thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. That's where we have to anchor this particular topic. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about Nigeria spending 9.1 trillion naira to import petroleum products in just 9 months, despite having refineries, And this is double of how much we spent in 2023. Stay with us and don't go away.
That they are going to stop or reduce the level of importation of petroleum products in Nigeria. But we're seeing that in just less than 9 months, 9-point-something trillion naira is what is spent on importation of petroleum products. What does this really portend? And where are we headed if this amount of money is being spent? Remember that we still blame importation of petroleum products for what's happened to be stressing the effects in Nigeria. Now, where are we headed with this one?
Fina, it means that the fuel subsidy scam have not ended. It's still going on. In fact, it has doubled. Because look at it yourself. This fuel that was imported, who consumed them? Because if Dangote is refining, Port Harcourt has come on stream, and you are bringing in this amount of fuel into Nigeria, please, who and who is consuming them? Or are we drinking them? It means that there is a scam somewhere. Nigerian, there is a scam somewhere. Whether you like it or not, let them come and challenge me. Because it does not add up. A scam is going on now. It's even higher now. Where is this fuel imported? Where are they? Who took delivery?
But MBS says petroleum products. Petroleum products. Not just fuel.
Hold on. Hold on. With what we have here, where are these products? Who is consuming them? That's my question.
Of course.
Really? How many of them now are using, are fueling their cars to that level? I mean, with the local refinery, the few of them that are working, you don't need that kind of amount of importation.
But Barrister Darlington, you know that our consumption rate as regards PMS, specifically now, for example, increased. When those, yes, they told, before now we have a 13 million consumption, and then, you know, the number kind of increased. So are you not saying that Nigerians are the ones consuming all this?
Is it what they told you? Or what is the reality on ground?
Are you not saying that you're believing what MBS says in one hand, and in the other hand, again, you're rejecting what they're saying?
Figure, even MBS doesn't have this figure. It's what the government tells them that they are telling you. They don't have the figure.
How will you say so, Barrister?
Yes, because there is no statistics here. I mean, evidence to prove that, yeah, we are consuming this amount of fuel. Up to today, even the NNPC doesn't know how much fuel we consume. So is it MBS that we not know? NNPC doesn't know. Up to today, none of them have told us that this is the amount of fuel we are consuming as of today. Nobody have told us. The government does not know. So how can you not tell me to believe in what the NBS is telling you? Who is MBS? Is it not data they give them at NNPC that they are going to use? And the NNPC is telling you they don't know. The house invited them, they couldn't tell us.
Barrister Darlington, when you say that local refineries are working, which local refineries are you talking about? I mean, Port Harcourt just came on stream like 3 weeks ago.
Yes, Dangote
just started producing fuel in September, and we started loading in October. So, if we didn't have these two, you know, that just started, why wouldn't we import?
Good. Now, Mr. Okoro, were you not told that this thing is gone? Fuel subsidy is gone?
No, but we are not talking about
no.
We are talking about the importers importing and selling.
Look, when they told you they were importing, Mr. Okoro, didn't we have scarcity here? Please remember, for almost 3 months there was no fuel. Remember.
When was that? This year or last year?
This year, of course, now. This year, everybody saying when there was no fuel, no this thing, no. People were running helter-skelter, looking for fuel. That was when this fuel got up to 1,005, even in Lagos here. The fuel that was available. So, where did they import those ones now that we are now giving us bill? Where are they?
Recall that at the point they also had logistic problems.
Like what?
Fuel. They said they had logistic problems. There was this back and forth.
Like the thunderstorm, the heavy rain, and all that, you know?
And the badges and all of that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what happened? When the thunder stopped and the rain stopped, what happened? Did you have the fuel? You see,
but look, at the point, the first scarcity eased off now.
Before it eased off, what happened? Because the figure they are giving me now is so alarming.
But it's not only fuel.
Do you have an alternative?
It's not only fuel, Barrister Darlington. We're talking about other petroleum products. We have the Jet A1, the diesel, every other one.
Remember that what has been the problem, the bane of Nigeria is this particular product called fuel. We are not talking of carbon and all those ones. Nobody is interested in all those ones. It has always been fuel, remember.
But they also contribute to this figure that we're having to 9-point-something trillion.
But what I'm saying
we can take them out this time around.
Hold on. It cannot reflect because the jet air fuel that we are talking about, is that not why the air transport has gone up? Please. These are one of the things I'm telling you that it's not possible because if they are available, then the end user will now make it easier for us. But they are telling you that the thing is still scarce and more expensive. So where are those products in particular?
All right.
Because we can't see it around.
Okay, let's bring Barrister Asim into this conversation. Barrister Asim, we are back again to this issue of fuel, subsidy, shortfall, and all of that. They said that between 9 months, that we used 9.1 trillion naira to import fuel into Nigeria. Meanwhile, according to NBS and according to what Barrister Darlington has said, local refineries were also functioning. So can you help us some kind of reconcile this contradiction, if you see any?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Nigeria statistics are not to be trusted. Not like the ones you have in the US and in the UK. When I begin to hear statistics from Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, I take them, they are whatever, with a pinch of salt. You know, that is the NBS that will come and tell you that the inflation level has dropped. And, you know, blah, 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 but you don't feel it. In other parts of the world, when statisticians talk, they talk with real facts, not conjured, or Halloween, facts like we have in Nigeria. Let me tell you for an example, I go there. I still have some facts here now, which we got from statistics, Nigeria statistics on kidnapping. Say ransom payments in kidnapping incident 2024, only running to 2.2 trillion. So this is statistics I found on social media. I'm asking, where did they get these statistics from? This is nebulous, facetious, and at the same time, it's heart-rendering when you begin to see this kind of statistics. So I compare, such statistics of 1.7 trillion naira, by whatever agency of government to this particular contraption that I'm reading from Facebook right now. Now, let me tell you, let's even go to the nitty-gritty as the case may be. For them, if I were to be in government, I will not even allow the National Bureau of Statistics to bring this kind of sarcastic statistics. What I mean by sarcastic statistics is this. Nigeria is not the only country that produces, whatever they call it. Nigeria is not the only country where citizens use fuel. The population of Nigeria is about 200, let's assume so. Indonesia is more than Nigeria population. Indonesia cannot even use half of what liters that we are talking about right now, turned out by these voodoo type statisticians, as the case may be. Now, in this particular country, we find out that the oil, or the petroleum industry is a murky one. It's like that of the iron curtain of the reign of Stalin in Russia, in the then USSR. What am I saying? Are you aware, that a particular House of Reps member was sent to jail because he collected 500,000 or whatever from a group of oil magnates in Nigeria? So nobody has really gone into the oil industry to know exactly what is happening. Every day you hear that Nigeria will consume XYZ amount of liters of oil. We don't know where those particular things are going to. The question I'm asking, this importation of oil to Nigeria, does it include the one that is done by trans-border criminals to take out fuel from Nigeria here to Benin Republic, Cameroon, and etc. as the case may be? Is it inclusive as the case may be? So I take this with a pinch of salt. Now, finally, trying to do a roller coaster and fall on these, statistics they talk about. Let me see. It is even a shame and an aberration that Nigeria will be talking about importation of petroleum products. At this point in time, I niggle and I weep inside my heart. In fact, those people with conscience, Nigerians in the grave right now, are still bitter. We spoke to them and they said they are still bitter with Nigerians. The Nigerian hierarchy, the government leadership, that how come that the refineries we have in Nigeria were made from 1960. The newest of them is 1978. Yeah. A child born in 1978 today is becoming a grandfather. But a refinery that was built, can you drive a car? If you bring a car that was built in 1978 into the street of Lagos, this is an old whatever, there's a new model. So the newest refinery in Nigeria was built in 1978. So, and we have not built from there. Two is that people should not just cocoon and put this before the doorstep of the President Tinubu and his administration. No, it is a systemic problem. How come that 1999 date that no civilian government was able to build a modular refinery? That is a modular refinery to refine water even. Let's put it that way. That we are still going back to refineries that were made by our great forefathers. It's a big shame. Okay. But an individual came up and brought a refinery within 2 years. So it's a shame. So which tells you that as it is, it has now become a pyramid scam. A pyramid, that is MMM, that is what Nigerian leadership and government has made us know. So the more you look, the less you see.
All right,
Professor Pella is even better than that because it's more realistic than what we have right now. It's so sickening and painful, so horrendous.
All right, no, Barrister.
Buccaneers in power.
Barrister
People
Adams.
with asphyxiating buccaneering instincts.
All right, Barrister Adams. Now, when you look at this figure they are talking about, 9.1 trillion naira, you find out that we're having inflation keep on increasing. For example, yesterday, inflation rate also, the headline inflation is now it was already double figure, 30-something%. Food inflation, the same thing. And we also know that our naira to dollar ratio is also high. With a recent projection that by 2025 our budget is 47-point-something trillion naira, and there's a projection that the dollar to naira will reduce to 1,400. And we know that importation stresses our FX. Are we now still saying that by next year, 2025, with that projection that we have in the budget, that there might be issues or discrepancy in the figures that we're going to get?
The inflation figures turned back by National Bureau of Statistics, I challenge them. As a layman, I challenge them to prove. Let me tell you, inflation is not about 33%. It is 250%. What am I telling you? I want to ask a simple question. A small, wrap of granola we used to buy for 10 naira. It's now 200 naira. If you calculate mathematically, if Professor Chikiobi were to rise up from his grave to say, let us calculate the quantum percentage that has, accumulated, that's about 300%. And likewise, every other item, foodstuff we have today. A bag of rice that was sold for 20 is now about 127,000, going to 200,000. And you are telling me it's a 30% increase. No, it's not true. This is voodoo type. These figures were conjured like magicians who would win people. When you watch them on Facebook, you see a man will put apple there, they bring orange out of this place. That's the kind of magical kind of we have. Okay, this is diabolic. It's voodoo type. Native doctor kind of administration. That's what we have here. See, it's so sickening. To be very honest with you, it's fallacious. It's not true.
Barrister Adams, I would like you to respond to two issues. The first issue is that you compared Nigeria with Indonesia.
Yes.
It has more population and they don't even consume as much as
Yes.
Now, don't you think that, because I've been to Indonesia, I know that their transportation system is effective, very efficient.
Yes.
The waterways, they use it, the rail system. Their public transportation is top notch. Yes. So people don't necessarily have to rely on their private vehicles. Don't you think that could account for the reason why we possibly consume more than them? That is one. Two, you are quarreling with the statistics from the NBS. And I have had to ask Barrister Darlington this question. When NBS says that we have 134 million multidimensionally poor people, we believe them. But when they put out a figure like we have used 9.1 trillion naira to import fuel for 9 months, we don't believe them. Why?
Good. Let me tell you why. If you have people who are embarrassingly poor to the tune of 133 million, please, how much is left of your population to buy cars and then consume that fuel? Do you think we are stupid here? When they tell you something, my friend, add it together.
But Barrister, you know that everything
133 million.
Everything we do in Nigeria revolves around PMS. For example, like a man that have a house, you have a generator. If you're a barber now, you have a generator. A vulcanizer by the roadside also uses fuel. And a tricycle rider uses fuel and all that. So are you not
when you have money that you buy the fuel? That is why the businesses are closed down. That is why people are poor. 133 million. Thank God they brought out that figure. So, the remaining people that are left, where is the power of their purse, their purchasing power to be consuming that amount of fuel?
Does it have to do with transborder smuggling, like Barrister said?
The thing is that nobody is bringing anything. It doesn't add up. I told you here, during the fuel subsidy scam, they bring in empty cargo and collect money as fuel. It's still going on. That's why I told you here. It's still going on. And because of the complicity of the people in government, nobody wants to probe anybody. That is why that NNPC is thinking with corruption. NNPC. Tell me why a body like that cannot come up with an accurate statistics on how much crude oil we are sending out and how much fuel we are consuming in a day in Nigeria. Please, can somebody tell me why that thing is shrouded in mystery? That is where the corruption is. They turn out figure just to tell you that they are spending so much to give you fuel. Meanwhile, it is a lie. Complete lie. Did they not tell us that when Dangote come on stream, fuel will be even 15 naira per liter? Oh yeah?
All right, Barrister Darlington. Sorry, Barrister.
I want to respond to
Barrister.
the question.
I'll come back to you.
It's okay.
Now, it's important to tell you that you can be part of this conversation, by calling in or sending a WhatsApp message on the number that appears on your screen. Now, the number is 0904 473 2605. I'll take that again for emphasis. 904 473 2605. Now, Barrister Asim, go ahead.
What I was trying to I wanted to rebut, the issue of statistics on poverty. When you said that MBS says 131 million, that is fallacious even. Let me tell you, if Nigeria is 250 million population, about 212 million are below poverty line right now. So the figures they would turn that is not a true figure. You know what? Let me tell you why I'm saying this. I walk on the street and I believe that you live close to neighbors who are very poor and you move around today, the level of begging has risen astronomically. I don't know whether Thomas Malthus, that great economist, saw Nigeria before he wrote that his book. You understand the point that you found that what he said, was that, production was growing in arithmetic, while population was going in geometric proportion. Poverty is growing in geometric progression in Nigeria today, whereas governance and corruption also growing in geometric corruption. People steal money, development, etc., that will bring good for the people are in arithmetic, retrogression. Now, let me tell you, what are the five? Which indices they use to now arrive at 135 million naira that are below? It is more than that. Because an average Nigerian, those who had cars before, cannot even drive their cars now. You might have money to buy fuel, you don't have money to buy food. You have money to buy food, you don't have money to buy clothes. You have money to buy clothes, you don't have money to rent a house. You have money to rent a house, you don't have money for transportation. So we are in confused state of anomy psychologically right now in Nigeria. So when they turn out, they have to come to the real street and find out. And when you find out this, you find out that it's not the true situation. Indonesia, you talk about. Let me tell you why Indonesia's own is quite okay and very okay with the people there. Even if we are drinking a cup of fuel, each Nigerian of millions every minute of the day, how can you import fuel? 1 trillion into trillion. It's not even 12 months yet. Yeah. Even if we are drinking it and using it to wash our body just as we drink water. Are you telling me that fuel now consumption has now surpassed the liters of water Nigeria drink on a daily basis?
Exactly.
This is the question we should ask. So these are things that we should sit down and begin to probe, this parochial and very systemic, combobulating, corruption that we have in all sectors. Nigeria has become a farce. Nigeria has now become something that we cannot really understand. Every day we discuss Nigeria here. But if we go outside of this place, we discuss development. Indonesia will discuss development. Even India cannot say that they imported, fuel or PMS, using, trillions of their, whatever the Hindi, whatever they call it there. So something is wrong somewhere, in my own opinion. It's just my guess, it's my opinion, but my opinion is based on reality and realism.
All right.
I'm a libertarian, and I know that until and unless we have libertarians and people who are populist-oriented in government, this farce will continue like a circus show.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Asim. Let me come to you, Barrister Darlington. Barrister Darlington, do you think that in the history of Nigeria that any government, don't mention any name, has Nigerian government done any good thing since we got independence?
Nigerian government?
Yes. Is there any good thing?
From independence now?
Yes. The First Republic, yes.
No. I mean Nigerian government. Have they done any good thing in any sector?
I said the First Republic.
Okay, what did they get right?
Good. Those leaders that came, the Azikiwe, I must mention them all. The Azikiwe, the Tafa Balewa, the Saduna, they had original good intention.
You can add your concluding thoughts to that.
Yes, for the development of this country. Mr. Okoro, why is it that we are now having the feeling of nostalgia concerning the First Republic. Look at the exchange rate that time. The so-called, as at that time, the naira was, in fact, it was equal to the pounds. True or false? So why will anybody come and discountenance those leaders? No, I will continue to praise them because they had good intention until these boys in the barracks, instigated by politicians, greedy politicians, now told them to come and scatter our destiny. So we had it good during the First Republic. And I've been saying it. If people don't know what to do, let them take us back there.
So, Barrister Darlington, essentially, nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
It was politicians that inspired the military boys to come and take over power from politicians. So nothing has changed.
The military can never stray into civilian administration if civilians do not instigate them. Go and watch. They even say it themselves. That's why they'll be watching the mood of the people before they will take over.
All right,
that they will not be resisted.
Thank you.
So it is politicians that are behind what
can we have your concluding thoughts?
My concluding thought on this is that yes, some governments in Nigeria have done some good things. Today, I can sit down here and somebody is calling me and chatting with the person while I'm on the program here. That is telephony. A government brought about this revolution that brought this GSM or whatever as they call it.
For their own interest.
Yeah, no problem. I believe it's something that at least an average Nigerian has a little phone. He can communicate. I can talk with my mother in the village, as I'm here. Just like that. So for me, that is a plus, as case may be. Then you now have one or two other time will not allow me to, gloss over those ones. But the bane of our problem is that of asphyxiating corruption that has, hitting deep into the fabric. Then finally on this, I plead, because any opportunity I have, to talk to the public and those in power, especially in Nigeria Police Force, I practice around your units and whatever as case may be. There should be more improvements there. Now, the Police Act, there are sections I have listed out. Time will not allow me to, read them out. They need amendment. That is where that lacune that these police officers are using as subterfuge, to do or to unleash mayhem on the populace. Then the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. We have been talking, even Ozekome, the senior advocate, all of us, we have been talking about this. That section 293 to 299 has, kind of placed the Constitution under it. It shouldn't be the Constitution should be the guiding factor for 293 to 299.
All right.
But now what happens is 293 has now become a guillotine where you now have awaiting trial males and inmates in the Nigerian prison system. Those who have been convicted, if you take the population, they are not up to 10% of the population in prison. 95% of people in custody today, remand, are awaiting trial. And how did they come about? It is through this funny and practical system of 296 to 299. It has to be abrogated.
Thank you very much, Barrister Adams. This will be a good place to
God bless you.
This conversation. We've been speaking with two wonderful gentlemen, lawyers for that matter, Barrister Darlington Agomo, who is also a VOP in-house analyst, and Barrister Asim Adam. On behalf of my colleagues here, Moses?
Well, I'm Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, I am Chukwuma Okoro. VOP returns, same time tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Please join us. And up next is Newspaper Review with Moses and I. Join us by 9 o'clock. And thanks for coming on this show. Enjoy the rest of your day.